Now, is the property prices already at its peak, and as a buyer, should you be concerned? So recently, I noticed something really very interesting, which is, quite a lot of buyers came to view my property listing, and somehow or rather, I just felt that they really liked my unit. But at the end of the day, something just keeps pulling them back. And I believe that they are probably very worried whether are they buying at the wrong timing. Now, especially when if you look at the property price trend recently, it's really at one of the peak. And the question is, should they be concerned? So I think to really answer this question, I think what is really important is for them to understand where are the property prices today, so that you guys probably will have a good understanding before you make a decision. Now, in order for me to illustrate this better, I'm going to share with you this buyer's pyramid diagram. So what you see right now is actually a pyramid. And from this pyramid, you are able to see that there are in fact 4 different stages. And every stage, it indicates that there is a price movement starting from the bottom, which is at the lowest point, all the way to the highest point. So let's look at the first stage. Now, this first stage is, of course, the developer buys the land from the government. Now, in fact, of course, if you ask me, the buyers at this point of time, they couldn't do much, because that's where the developer buys the land from the government so that they can sell the project to the buyer. Of course, when the developer buys, they have to factor in all the different costs, the construction costs, the legal costs, the marketing costs. And then as we move up to the second stage, that's where the developer starts to sell this project to the buyers. Now, this second stage to me is one of the cheapest price. Now, because it also depends on the property market as well, but this is one of the cheapest. Now, after this is fully sold, we will come to the next stage, which is the third stage. Now, this is where the previous owners who has been holding this property for the past 3 to 4 years, they start to sell to the open market. Now, this is where the project TOP, and of course the owner starts to sell to the new buyers. Usually what I see is this price trend, there will be a profit of about $100,000 to $200,000. Now, in fact, sometimes it can go up to $300,000. Now, usually this pyramid, it stops there. So now we have come to the most important stage. To me, is critical, because this is currently where we are, which is when the property price or the property trend is moving upwards. And during this period of time, a lot of prices keeps changing, and of course it's moving higher and higher and higher. And if we zoom into this small little triangle, you will notice that there is a start of the trend and there is an end of the trend. So right now, what is really very important is, where are we? Are we still at the start of the trend, or in fact we are at the end of the trend? Now, to understand this better, what I did was I actually took a particular condo to study the historical price trend as well. And I'm going to show you this, so that you will see all the different price movements in this pyramid. Now, this project that I studied is Paranoma. It's quite a new condo in Ang Mo Kio, and it TOP'd in year 2014. And the 3-bedder starting price is about $1.2 million. Now, as we move up to the stage, which is the second stage, it TOP'd in 2017, and one of the unit transact at $1.38 million. Now, you can see the increase is about $100,000 to $200,000, right? Of course, it could have gone up higher. Now, then we go to the last stage, which is the fourth stage. Now, this is where the price trend starts. Now, you can see that there is transactions in February 2021 whereby the 3-bedders sold for $1.5 million. After which, in December 2021, there's another unit transacted at $1.67 million. And as we go up to the end of year 2023, there's one unit that sold for $1.915 million. Now, you can see that from the start to the end, the prices keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And of course, being a buyer, you will definitely be very concerned. How high can it go, and when it's to the end of the trend? So that's where we really need to ask ourselves this question: where are we right now? Now, in order for us to really understand this deeper, what I did was I took an older condo to study the historical price trend and make a comparison between the growth rate during the current trend and compare it to the previous trend which happened in year 2013, which was one of the highest, which was our second highest peak during that point of time. Now, the project I studied is Grandeur 8, and what I'm going to share with you is this. I did a comparison between two different price trends, and what you notice is that in year 2010, the 3-bedders were sold roughly estimate about $990,000. And 3 years later, in year 2013, which happened to be one of the highest peak, it was sold at 1.348 million. So you notice that the growth rate during that period of time is about 36%. Now fast forward to our current uptrend cycle. Now in year 2020, which happened to be during the COVID period, a 3-bedder was sold at about 1.28 million. And 3 years later, which is in year 2023, one of the 3-bedders is sold at about 1.688 million. And you will notice that the growth rate was about 31%. Now, just based on these two comparisons, you will be able to understand that in fact, they are already quite near to each other. So just based on this example, you will notice that somehow it has already near to the previous peak. And of course, based on the pyramid that I mentioned, we probably might be at the near end of the price trend. Now, of course, I have to point out different projects have different historical price trends, and it really depends on the location of the property, the age of the property, the supply in that area, and you will get probably different results. But what I did is just an example which you can use to understand where are we right now. So, conclusion. Now, as a buyer, what should you do right now? I think for this, there's really no right or wrong answer. To me personally, it really depends on your objectives. Some buyers I met, they really have to buy a property because they have to find a replacement home, and they probably have to find a place that is near to their kids' schools, or probably they have to find a bigger place, or probably they want to get somewhere near to their parents. And of course, if they are buying today, they will be buying at this price point. Now at the end of the day, should you do it? I think one thing I can only share with you guys is that we need to take note that as the property prices goes up, your risk gets higher, and at the end your profit margins of course will get slimmer. This is something that we really need to understand. Now at the end, it still depends on when you are going to sell your property. Now if you're going to buy today, you have to take note that you will need to wait for the next uptrend cycle that probably will take another 8 to 10 years down the road before you sell. Now at the end, I can only say that the decision to buy a property lies with you. Now of course, feel free to share your thoughts and your concerns as a buyer in this video. Share your comments, I would really love to hear from you. Gainer from Property Made Simple, where we share real life encounters that teach and inspire you.